Thanks, JP Jolly, for actually having this conversation with us on the backdrop of Money 2020. I wanted to actually start our conversation by taking a perspective from your lens in terms of the payment industry has been there around for a long period of time. And I wanted to actually ask you, what do you see as the innovative disruption that is going to happen in the payment industry?
And so I think the biggest disruption we're all waiting for is the essentially pay-by-bank process, whereby as a consumer, as a small business, I'm going to be offered the ability to say, instead of paying with your credit card or your debit card or your virtual card, you're essentially going to pay through a direct debit to your bank account. It's still something that we haven't really seen in the US. It's obviously much more common in Europe and other parts of the world. But the ability to do that on a real-time basis, that will be the true disruption. And what's going to make consumers, small businesses switch from using your credit card, your debit card over to your, essentially do a pay-by-bank, so a direct real-time debit to your bank account. And I think that's all we're waiting for, and that will be a true disruption to the whole payment ecosystem if you think about the players in there.
Just to follow up on that, because that's a very interesting perspective. Because JPMC operates globally, if I ask you that, do you see actually a similar pattern of disruption across different markets, or is it actually a bit specific in some parts of actually the world?
That disruption has already happened in some markets, like India, that essentially went directly from the equivalent of real-time payments on a direct debit basis, because you never really had the credit card rails, debit card rails to do that. So you've seen some economies already do it. The biggest one that's not made the move is the US. The US actually the most antiquated from a payment standpoint, where people still like to use their credit cards, debit cards. So we've seen that move already happen. We're just waiting to see what's going to happen in this market. So for us at JP Morgan, we do both merchant acquiring and we do treasury services. So the way we look at it and how we essentially drive revenues, we want to help our clients however they want collect money. If they decide, I want to move from collecting credit cards, debit cards to real-time payments and do pay-by-bank, we will support them, because that's not the main driver that we have. What we want to do at the end of the day is provide them a bank account, be their treasury services provider, enable them and put their deposits with us, get the right yield. At the same time, we can be their credit bank, and we can do a lot more from a JP Morgan standpoint. So,
perfect. Now, we did talk about actually the disruption that will actually possibly have and the innovation that will come in the payment space. How do you actually see technology and tech companies like Tech Mahindra to kind of support this wave that is actually coming through,
Yeah, so I think my standpoint from a technology standpoint is banks have become bigger and bigger buyers of technology. And I think what you need to do is, when you run these large programs, whether you want to move towards real-time payments, you want to essentially upgrade your infrastructure, which is a legacy infrastructure, to a new infrastructure. You want to find the right partner. So my advice to any tech company, including Tech Mahindra, which is also a client of JP Morgan, would be working with banks to understand what are their priorities and how can you make that happen most efficiently. And so you want to find the right tech partner to get the, whatever you're trying to achieve from a technology standpoint, whether it's moving towards real-time payments, virtual accounts, a big phenomenon in our industry, upgrading our online and mobile infrastructure, whereby people really like their apps on their phones, but when they work with us from an online mobile standpoint, it's their job. And how do you improve that experience? So my advice for any tech provider is understanding what the bank is trying to achieve to do, and how can you de-risk and get them there as fast as possible.
Sounds like actually TechM is in the right space, because with our objective to scale at speed, which brings a lot of agility, coupled with actually our background coming from a telco heritage, which had a lot of focus in terms of infrastructure network, which is required from the payments perspective, and building on the transformation programs that we have actually delivered for our clients, looks like actually we are well suited for this change that is going to come out in the payments industry. If I actually build on the conversation that we had in put a very futuristic lens and ask you that where do you feel the future of payments is going to be?
I think, like the future of payments is really the whole premise of real-time payments. Being able to collect on a real-time basis, and the other main piece is the data, right? Knowing why I'm getting paid and I can reconcile that information is the future of what any treasury function wants to do, or any client that's looking to collect from their clients. That's on that one. On the payroll side, same thing. I think payroll is going to move towards real times for probably more your blue collar workers who probably need to get paid, rather get paid on a daily basis versus weekly basis. And if you can pay them on a real-time basis, that's another big improvement as well. And that was kind of a very big topic when we were talking about gig workers and the whole gig economy. And we've kind of maybe gone away from that in the last few years because of COVID and everything else, but that's going to come back, whereby you're hiring people for specific assignments and you want to pay them when the assignment is done. They want to get paid when they've done their work. I also think that's going to be a big innovation for the payment space. If you can do both legs of that, I think banks and non-banks, whoever can do that and give not just the ability to collect money and pay, but the whole aspect of data. If you can do that on a real-time basis and the clients can reconcile that, I think you're going to be a winner in the payment space.
Fascinating. Thank you so much, JP, for giving us a masterclass on payments.
Masterclass, I don't know, but always my pleasure. That's my perspective.
And I think it was really a bite-sized kind of a conversation, which is so much powerful in terms of bringing forward the business aspects and the technology aspects together. So thank you so much. Great having you, and hope you have a great time.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you.
Thanks.